Can you overcommittee your community? In this month's HOAleader.com video, two of our experts answer that question. Welcome to this HOAleader.com video chat with two of our experts. My name is Gabriella Falisco. Today, I'm joined by two experts, Robert Ducharme of New Hampshire and Melissa Doolin of Arizona. And we're covering this over committee question because we saw an HOAleader.com reader mention on the discussion board that theirs is a newly transitioned board and they already have a finance committee, a design review board committee, a buildings and grounds committee. And they're saying they need to add a communications committee, a covenant enforcement committee, and they also said temp committees. And I'm not really sure what that means, but my first thought was, whoa, let's back up and talk about when you need committees and what to use them for and what not. So in this video, we'll discuss how some states have legislative mandated committees, along with the difference between legislatively mandated committees and board created committees. So just a note, our experts are providing insights based on the laws and practices in the states they're authorized to practice in. This video is intended to provide you with general guidance you can use if you approach an expert in your state. Okay, Melissa, let's start with statutorily mandated committees. Do you have any in Arizona?
Well, we don't have a statutorily mandated committee law in Arizona. We do have a law that governs architectural committees in planned communities. And it says that if you have an architectural committee, the chairperson of that architectural committee must be a board director. So that's kind of an interesting law that came into effect a few years ago. So if the board does not act as the architectural committee, then one person on the architectural committee must be a board director, and that person must be the chair.
Interesting. Okay. So are you familiar with legislative created committees? Because I know, for example, like in Florida, the law requires that communities must set up certain committees. Bob, do you have any of those in New Hampshire?
Well, you need to remember that New Hampshire state motto is the live free or die state, so we don't have anything mandatory. But we, but I think committees are a good idea, and much like Melissa had mentioned, I put in documents that I draft that if there's any time there's a committee, there should be a board member that's on it to make sure that there's direct communication between the board and the committee. I had a situation where they locked the board members out, which is never a good sign.
Wow. What do you mean they locked them out? They created a committee and then did what?
Yeah, just to take a quick step back, I think committees are a great way to get people involved in their community associations, and it's a great training ground for the board. You get, smaller issues, smaller budgets, and so on and so forth. In this particular case, someone ran for the board, didn't get on. As I advise, if someone runs and doesn't get on, they're enthusiastic about something. Ask them what it is. Create a committee. So she was invested in landscaping, so they created a landscaping committee, and she then invited her friends to it and excluded the board members and had no minutes, kept them in secret, didn't notify anybody. And I kid you not, she started assessing unit owners condominium fees and signed a landscaping contract on behalf of the association without the board's knowledge or permission. So now we have a real problem.
Oh gosh.
Luckily, they've since changed that language, and she's not in charge of the landscaping committee.
Okay. Okay, Melissa, were you going to say something to that?
Well, that's just wow. That is a interesting situation, Bob. I don't think I've ever had somebody take over a committee in that way, but I would echo your sentiments that I think that if somebody runs for the board and doesn't get on, they're usually, running for a reason. And sometimes if you can, ascertain that reason, they can join a committee and, you can get that positive impact from that person on and help, the association move forward on a key issue.
And we're all humans, Gabriella, and if you run for the board, you obviously have a passion. Nobody likes to be told they're not good enough for something. So it's a nice, legitimate consolation prize. Say, listen, sorry it was a close vote, you didn't get it, but please don't go away. We'd really like you to help, and here's how you can do it. And that's a nice way for people to join in.
Okay, so in our next video, we'll talk about other reasons to create a committee, not just as a training ground for new leaders, but also because the board might need the help. So thank you to both of you, and we hope you will click the link below to watch the additional extended video where these experts drill down on when you as a board should consider creating a committee, and whether you could be overcommitting yourself. And the other question is how to make sure your committee doesn't go rogue like Bob's did. So we hope you'll join that next video.